New from Slickwick Records, a subsidiary of K-Smile Records, a subsidiary of Benco Industries, the 70s are back, again, whether you like it or not. Introducing sulfuric hits of the 70s. Burn your speakers and eardrums with such rockin', downright sedimentary tunes as Salsa and Blue by Neil Zirconia.
Song sung blue, everybody knows one.
Writhe around awkwardly to Poopy Man by Tom Joneson.
If you roll a ribbon to my thing, maybe pull my string.
Weigh yourself down with My Sweet Load by George Harrison.
My sweet Lord, oh my Lord, my...
Pretend you're actually listening to classical music to Joyless by Apollo 1. Yes, these and many more, including That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Leak by Carlene Simone, Stumblin' by Susie Quattrophonic and Chris Normie, I Saw Your Wife by Turd Runtgreen, and Try to Forget, When You Rot by Thatching Reed.
When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Yes, 17 tunes needlessly spread across 5 LPs. Act now and receive a special offer. Drill your own holes and save 5%. Also available on unlubricated 8-track and 15/16 per second reel-to-reel tape. Order now, order often. Send cash, money order, or raw silver to... Sulfuric Hits of the 70s. Care of KLAK TV, P.O. Box 1564, Worms, Nebraska 90125. Please allow 6 to 8 months for delivery. For faster delivery, please. Open a window. Someone.
I'm a two-penny prince, and if you want hard love, take her or leave her.
And welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that's so dry you'll swear you've curse that hot heat. Anyway, yes, it is time for our annual round of hacked-at chords, missed beats, and flubbed lines, which actually could apply to most of my videos. But yeah, it is Record Ripoffs Day, just in case you didn't get all the hints. So anyway, we're going to go back to basics with this one. So in more recent years, I've really been widening the scope in terms of time and genre. Well, yeah, we're going back to those first 2 or 3 Record Ripoffs episodes with this one. We're going back to the 70s, back to the heyday of these things. And as it just worked out, it wasn't by design, we're really going to be dealing with the most narrow time period that I've ever done for one of these. So say for one song at the very end of today's episode, everything is from 1972 or 73. And yeah, I got 5 albums to get through, and they're all Pickwick this time. Sorry. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's take these in chronological order, and let's kick things off in, we'll say, roughly the spring of 1972. So, going back to the summer of 71, former Beatle George Harrison quite famously put on the Concert for Bangladesh. And it does kind of remain under debate just how much money from the show found its way, and the record sales found its way to the refugees. But we do know that a good amount was raised, at the very least. Well, today's first album is the single most crass knockoff that I have encountered to date, even more so than the Princess Diana album a few years ago. I can guarantee you that not a penny from this turkey found its way overseas. So with that, today's first album is simply titled Bangladesh, and it's credited to the tribe, or tribes. They're kind of used interchangeably on the sleeve and on the record. And this is a mixed bag. So a few of these tunes are based on the renditions performed at the concert for Bangladesh, specifically the Bob Dylan covers. But the George Harrison and the Ringo Starr stuff is based on the regular hit studio versions. And as is kind of an anomaly with these things, it's happened to us a couple of times, but we do have a couple of originals on here as well. And one of them is a raga. Now, let me state for the record, I've only ever heard a small handful of real proper Indian ragas in my life, and I think all of them have been from Ravi Shankar. So I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to tell a good raga from a bad raga. As it turns out, I had absolutely nothing to worry about. The one on here is basically 7 minutes of some probably American kid sitting there with a sitar who is at best maybe touched it once or twice before. And most of the time it sounds like he's trying to tune it instead of actually play it. And more amusing still, in the background, his buddy is clomping away, making little horsey hoof noises on a tabla.
My friend came to me, sadness in his eyes, told me that he wanted help before his country dies. Bangladesh, Bangladesh, it sure looks like a mess. I've never seen such distress.
It don't come easy, you know it don't come easy. Got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, and you know it don't come easy. The future won't last, it will soon be your tomorrow.
Something in the way she knows. Something in the face she shows. You know I believe in how. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Oh, I know the evening empire has returned into sand, and it's from my hand. Let me blindly here to stand, but still not sleeping. But it takes so long, my Lord, my sweet Lord. I really wanna see you, my sweet Lord, my sweet Lord, my Lord.
It just worked out that the other 4 albums that we're properly covering today all come to us from the same series. And indeed, I've actually covered an album from this series before, way back on Record Ripoffs Volume 2, back in 2014. But anyway, at the time, and I mentioned this in that episode, my theory was that the reason I come across so many of these, and it's become more true with time, is that these were among the people that willingly purchased them. it was mostly purchased by horny pubescent boys. And yeah, I think you can tell why. And indeed, the next one we're going to look at is what's on the box today. But having said that, if you can get past my little defacing of the artwork here, they're pretty open about these things not being the actual hits, and it carries over to the liner notes and everything as well. But anyway, with that, we've got 4 albums to look at, all from the Super Share Hits series. And we're going to kick things off with Volume 2. I have most of this series, but I've never actually encountered Volume 1. Although something tells me I will someday. But anyway, we're picking really right up in terms of time where the Bangladesh one left off. But unlike that album, this is actually the least worst thing I'm covering today. Most of the covers on here are actually perfectly inoffensive. I'd say only 1 or 2 really might hurt your stomach a little, and that's kind of a low bar for these things. So I'm really covering this one for 2 other reasons. One, this is actually a mispress. So somebody stuck the label for side 2 on both sides of the record, and somebody either at the factory or maybe the person that bought this tried to rub out the erroneous number 2 on side 1 of the record with an eraser, and it winds up looking that much cheaper because of it. And then the other reason I'm covering this is actually a technical one. This is home to the single laziest mastering error that I have ever encountered. So the first 20 seconds or so of the first cut on side 1 are out of phase, and it's quite noticeable. You do not need to be an audio nerd to hear it, and if you're wearing headphones, you will truly notice it. But obviously the engineer caught it, and he hit the button and put things back in phase, but couldn't be bothered to take another pass at the tape a whole 20 seconds into the first cut on side 1. So, yeah, I gotta give it some kind of weird backhanded credit for that. Anyway, before I start the montage here, you know, I always put these record ripoffs episodes out right around back to school time. So I figured this would be a good time to unload a little homework assignment on you. Now, the liner notes to these things were all written by one Keith Wood, and I can just about guarantee you that's a pen name, maybe an Alan Smithy sort of thing. But there's a certain, I don't know, progression to the liner notes. On these earlier ones, it's kind of like reading the transcript of a wannabe hip-talking top 40 pop radio DJ of the period. And as the series rolls on, it basically becomes the ramblings of a madman. So your assignment is to pause the video and read those as they come up. You may or may not regret it.
What I've got they used to call the blues. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
How I get all the women in the palms of my hand. I told them, treat her like a lady, she'll give in to. Lord, look and see, you know what I mean. If you fail to do this, don't blame her if you look my way, 'cause I to say, when you're hot, you're hot. I say, yeah. You can explain it all down at City Hall. Or when you're hot, you're hot. Well, la 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 la. When you take off that black robe, I'll take you in the back of this coat and I'll try a little show on. You understand me, you hillbilly?
Full disclosure, Sergey has already pretty well picked over this album, so if you're into his show, you've heard a good chunk of this already. But I guess I'll give him a little plug anyway. Listen to Sergey's Catacomb of Classics on KLAK 640 and sometimes 1240 AM. But back on topic here, we're entering effectively the summer of 1972 here in terms of the release of this one, Volume 5. Bear in mind, these things are always a few months behind what was actually on the charts. But, okay, 72, so we're kind of at the height of the singer-songwriter movement, and we're seeing a little more hard rock on the charts, and there's still all the other kind of general pop stuff going on, but it seems like it's the singer-songwriters and the harder rocking stuff that are really getting the most attention and having the staying power. So this time around, we've got Carole King going from earthy singer-songwriter to bratty 13-year-old. We've got Rod Stewart basically being one step away from Wildman Fisher. We've got Paul Simon completely losing his sense of rhythm. And conversely, Neil Young becomes a much better harmonica player and a marginally better singer.
In the morning, don't say you love me, 'cause I'll only kick you out of this door. Stay with me, baby, stay with me, but tonight you're gonna stay with me. I wanna live, I wanna give. I've been a miner for a heart of gold. You keep me searching and I'm growing old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes the blues get a hold of you. All around the block, people will talk. I wanna give it all that I got. I'm talking that sweet seasons on my
No, I would not give you false hope, but the mother and child reunion is only a motion away. Oh, little darling mine, I just can't believe it so. Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. What does it matter? Looking out from my lonely room, day after
let's pick up right where that last album left off, shall we? Let's move on to Volume 6. Now, I want you to take a good look at our freckle-faced model on the cover there. Yes, she is indeed wearing a probably unlicensed Archie Bunker shirt. Because, you know, the kids back then really dug old bigoted Archie Bunker. Anyway, if you take another good look at her, it has been confirmed. This is not one of my little jokes. That is indeed 70s cult movie queen PJ Soles there. So she went on to appear in Carrie and Halloween and Rock and Roll High School. Unfortunately, it has not been confirmed whether or not she still has the Archie Bunker shirt. Anyway, sometime during the making of this thing, the powers that be got a little equipment upgrade. So what we're left with is a rather schizophrenic affair. Some of the cuts still sound like they were cut in somebody's parents' rec room on a cheap cassette deck, and others sound surprisingly decent. They're actually fairly well produced. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much for the performances, though.
All them women, dope and gamblers, treat 'em, I don't know how. Hey there, I'll keep you in my farmhouse now. Hey there, I ain't no square. You got to go, man, you're tumbling down. We don't need it. Don't pretend that you were dead. Pick yourself up off the card. Back off, Boogaloo, I said. Back off, Boogaloo, back off. Old man, look at my life. 24 and so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of true. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Just one look in my eyes and you can tell that's true. Once I said I want to do, I don't remember why. I often wonder if it's true that you can make me cry. But I got one solution, then we're gonna start anew.
How do you do? And you will say la 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 la, please give me more. Hey, that's what I'm living for.
How do you do?
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. The air was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sun. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. La 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 la.
All right, let's finish up our little super hits marathon here, shall we? This brings us up to the summer of 1973, and this is Volume 10. And I think this is the only album I've ever seen whose value started at absolute rock bottom and has steadily worked its way up over the decades. So if you look at the top right part of the sleeve there, this started at 3 for $1. Then if you look over the name Daniel, it went up to 99 cents. And I'm the moron that got to pay $2.99 plus shipping for this thing. All because I was just that curious as to how Frankenstein turned out, originally by the Edgar Winter Group. Because that's not an easy song. That's not some little 3-chord garage band thing. But I guess you could say I wasn't disappointed. Otherwise, just kind of a general observation about the top 40 at this point. It seems like there was this kind of mini trend of retreads going on. So, and we got 2 of them that appear on this album. So one would be Neil Diamond and his live version of Cherry Cherry. So the original version came out in 1966, and I enjoy it, and it's still the one you hear on the oldies stations. But when he put out his Hot August Night live album, that was the single pulled from it. And it's a total reworking of the song, and Cherry Cherry becomes very cheesy. So much so that even these folks couldn't out-cheese the real thing, and as such, I'm not going to excerpt that one. Otherwise, there was a rendition of Pinball Wizard, originally by The Who, and that was performed by the New Seekers, and we saw them way back on Bicentennial Fever, didn't we? But I actually rather enjoyed, at least instrumentally speaking, their rendition. I thought it turned out pretty well, even on this album. And that's kind of indicative of the whole thing. This thing runs the gamut from surprisingly solid all the way down to a couple that I think are easily going to enter Record Ripoffs infamy.
Sing a song. Don't worry that it's not good enough.
Your everlasting summer, you can see it's fading fast. So you grab a piece of something and you think it's gonna last. Though you wouldn't even know a diamond if you held it in your hand. The things that pass for knowledge I can't understand.
A couple of years ago, I went on a failed trip to Minnesota to try and seek out and get audio footage of two of America's last functional AM stereo radio stations. And while I was on that trip, I also did some thrifting, and I was able to get a thrifting video out of it. And so with that, at a shop in Fairmont, I picked up this 2 LP set called Can't Stop Dancing. And this is the great exception to the rule for this episode. This is not from Pickwick, but this is from TEJ, or Tin Eared Junk Records, as I like to call them. And this is also from 1977, so we're jumping way forward in time here. But anyway, I want to close things out with what I consider to be kind of the unintentional theme to record ripoff-dom in general. So let's close things out with a bit of a very unfunky rendition of the Climax Blues Band's 1976 classic, Couldn't Get It Right. 'Cause Lord knows these folks rarely did.